guys, welcome back to the Southern Rustic. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a Southern classic, buttermilk biscuits with tomato gravy. So let's get right into it, guys. Okay guys, as always, we're going to go over the ingredients before we start any meal, and this is a two-part recipe, so I'm going to be making each recipe individually. We're going to start with the buttermilk biscuits. While those are in the oven baking, I'm going to make the gravy. So let's get into the ingredients and show you everything that you're going to need. Okay guys, so first off, you're going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. For the gravy, all you're going to need is some type of flavorless oil. I'm going to be using vegetable oil today, salt and pepper. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of flour, 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes with the juice, and water. This depends on how thick or thin you want your gravy, is how much water you will be adding. For the biscuits, you're going to need flour. This is a 1/4 cup of powdered milk. Butter, I've got this melted because this right here is for buttering the biscuits and buttering my pan. I do not put butter in my biscuits. It makes a very crunchy outer layer of the biscuits, and I want a nice soft flaky biscuit. In here I've got baking powder, baking soda, cream of tartar, salt, a 1/4 cup of Crisco, and buttermilk. And that's it guys, let's get started. Okay guys, for the biscuits, you're going to start out with cold all-purpose flour. I keep mine in the freezer for this very purpose right here. You're going to go ahead and add in your baking powder, baking soda, cream of tartar, and salt. And your powdered milk. You're going to mix this really well because you want all of those ingredients to be combined together before you add in any of the other ingredients. This is just to ensure that every piece of the biscuit gets adequate amount of baking powder and all the other ingredients to make sure it rises really well. Now you're going to go ahead and add in your Crisco. And you're just going to cut this in until it's crumbly. It doesn't need to be really fine because it will melt down when you make the biscuits. Just make sure you take a few seconds and very well combine this together. You will have a lot of areas of the flour that's really not well mixed, and that's okay. You should have crumbles in here that is more or less pea-sized shape, so don't overmix it. Now you're just going to stir this and add in your buttermilk. And you're just going to stir this just to incorporate everything. Because this will come together later. You don't want to overmix your biscuit dough because it will make for a very tough biscuit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to put out a little bit of flour onto our board, and then you're just going to add all of the biscuit dough down, and then just get your hands mixed with a little bit of flour to prevent sticking. And now you're just going to smush it together into a disc shape. And now we're going to start building our layers. Now when I say layers, we're just going to fold it over on itself and just kind of press it together. You're going to do this about 5 or 6 times. You don't want to make them too stiff, but we do want those layers, and this will help make the biscuits very nice and flaky. So just do this 5 or 6 times. Okay, now just pat it out to about 1/2 inch thick. This is the pan that I like using. It is just a flat type pan. I just think it does really well with biscuits. Now you're just going to take a cookie cutter and just press down. Do not twist it or shake it, just press down. Pull straight back up. You can go ahead and place those on your pan. Now with the remaining dough, just kind of smush it back together. And just kind of fold it over on itself as before. You don't want to do this step too many times. Because it will make your biscuits tough. And then just for the remaining of the dough, you can just kind of press it into the mold, just so it gets a nice round shape to it. Now what we're going to do is, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I did butter the pan. I buttered it really well, and then I just placed my biscuits on top. And then you're just going to liberally coat the top of the biscuits with butter. This will help evenly brown the biscuits. Now they're ready to go. You can put these in your 450-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, just until they're cooked through and the top is nice and golden brown. Okay guys, moving right along to the gravy. You're going to turn your heat on to about medium low. You're going to let the pan come to temperature. Okay guys, now that the pan is up to temperature, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of oil. Like I said before, I'm using a vegetable oil, but you can use any type of flavorless oil. And as soon as that oil comes to heat, we're going to add in our flour. Now when it comes to this, you don't want more oil than flour, and you don't want more flour than oil. You want equal portions of each. So if you're using 2 tablespoons of oil, use 2 tablespoons of flour. And just whisk this together. We're just going to cook this a minute or two, just until it turns a slight golden brown color, to cook off that flour taste, because you don't want the gravy to have a flour taste to it. This is a tomato gravy, so we don't want it to taste like flour. So at this point, I'm going to season with salt and pepper. And just give this a mix in. Now we're going to add in our tomatoes. Just kind of mix this around. It will thicken up. Just keep whisking it because you don't want lumps to form. Now at this point, you can switch to a spatula to help mix. I'm just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes. It's going to thicken up. You can add the water if you need it. If it gets too thick, add in a little bit at a time until it gets to the right consistency. If it's just right, you don't have to add any at all. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of warm water. Make sure you're using warm water. You don't want to put cold water in here. Just add just a little bit at a time, and just keep cooking this for about 5 minutes, and make sure you stir it so it doesn't burn or stick. Okay guys, it's been 5 minutes and I've got the consistency to where I want it. So I'm just going to cut the pan off. Now at this point you're going to want to taste it for seasoning. Just be very careful because this is very, very hot. Just a little bit more of salt and that should be good. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't take it out. Okay, so this is done. Now I'm going to place this in a bowl so that way I can just go ahead and let the pan cool down just slightly so I can wash it and remove all of the tomato on here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while my biscuits are baking, and I will meet you right back here. Okay guys, it's been about 20 minutes, so I just took my biscuits out of the oven, and you're going to want to go ahead and brush these again with a little bit of butter. Okay, so now that the tops are all buttered, you're going to let these sit for a few minutes just to cool down, and then you can just place them in a dish and serve them. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. These biscuits are so soft and flaky. They are so good. I love making these for breakfast in the mornings. Let's try it. You guys, there's nothing better than a soft, flaky biscuit with tomato gravy on the top. Absolutely delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit that little red subscribe button down below and be part of the family here at the Southern Rustic. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.